Before you go on, please, I want to confirm. Okay, I just saw the recording now. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so today we're going to cover this program. Now, if you look at the slide, you can see something here, right? In the middle, you have cloud computing, and around it, you have a notebook, you have network, you have a mobile phone, you have a PC, you have a service and database. That gives you a clear idea on what cloud computing is all about. But before we delve into it, let's go to the next slide, and then we can take it off from there. Uh, my name is Elvis Akandu, and I'm an experienced Microsoft Cloud administrator, and I've been a trainer for some time now. I've been in the industry for over a decade, and I'm skilled in cloud security and compliance management. I am a cloud architectural designer, also help in optimizing cloud costs, hybrid cloud management as well. I analyze technical issues. I'm also a network security expert. I'm certified in strategic management from the Cranfield University of UK. I'm a member of the International Information System Security Certificate Consortium, ISC2, Microsoft Security Administrator, and also a Microsoft Security Microsoft Certified Trainer, and have deep expertise in offering modern cloud solutions. And most importantly, what keeps me going is that I'm committed to driving innovations and security in the modern IT landscape as a cybersecurity expert and as well as a cloud infrastructure professional. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn and we can connect after now. Let's go into what we'll be talking about today. Today, we'll be talking about cloud computing. And after the end of today's class and session, right, I believe that we should be able to understand what cloud computing is all about, the different definitions of cloud computing, and how cloud computing came to be. We also understand the service models. As you can see there, we have the IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. We're also going to understand the deployment models and why is cloud computing called a public cloud, private cloud, or a hybrid cloud. We're also going to discuss extensively the benefits and challenges of cloud computing. And before we wrap up, we'll also understand and see the use cases of cloud computing in the industry and how it's been applied in our day-to-day lives and also in the IT sector generally. And before we wrap up for the day, we'll delve a little into Microsoft 365, which is why we are here. If you looked very well at the outline, the sticker that went out when we started the program, it says 3 months internship on Microsoft 365 services, right? But you won't understand Microsoft 365 services without you understanding what cloud computing is all about. Before we go to the definition, I want us to understand something. So many years ago, like in the 60s and 70s, organizations, enterprise organizations have infrastructures, right? They have data centers. They buy very big data centers. They buy servers. They buy huge databases, which cost millions of naira because they want to host different aspects of their business. They either want to host their server, they want to host the communications, they want to host different things they choose to host, right? Now, why we are here talking about cloud computing, we should understand that Now, in the modern age here, we use the cloud. Cloud wasn't all around, before. So before this class ends, I'm sure we should be able to understand what all of this is about. Let's go to a brief definition. Like I said, before in the past, you have data centers, you have companies who spend millions of naira creating these infrastructures for their companies, but different cloud providers came up with a long-lasting solution, which means that people can actually host all of these infrastructures in the cloud without having to pay or buy servers, buy what is being needed to host a particular uh, infrastructure or data. Cloud computing is an on-demand availability of computer system resources, especially data storage. We can call it cloud.
Elvis, can you check your mic, please?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, please. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So in simple terms, cloud computing is a technology that allows you to access and use various computer resources like the storage, virtual machines, databases, and networks over the internet. It's like going to rent a space. You want to have an event, you're going to rent a space, you're using that space for that particular event, and when you're done, you just pay for the space, you pay for that day you're using the space, and the space still goes back to being owned by the owner of the land. So instead of you having to buy all of these servers, desktops, and different applications using to run your infrastructure, cloud computing helps you put all of these architectures in the cloud. It helps you save money and makes it easy to scale up and down. You can increase the bandwidth, increase storage, decrease storage. You pay as you use the storage. Makes it very easy, scalable, similar to paying for utilities like electricity. So we all have prepaid meters. Most of us that's what most of us use. The electricity comes from the power grid, and you only pay for what you use. If you don't pay for it, you don't get to use it. And the image we have of cloud computing on the side here helps us understand that if you see the cloud computing here, you have the servers, you have the virtual desktop, you have the software platform, you have even the application and the data storage. All of this is in the cloud. You have all of this set up in the cloud where you are able to pay as you use. If you want to host some servers, you pay for the particular server you want to use and you host it on a particular platform. You create virtual machines, different applications can be run on them. You buy data storages, and all of this is being hosted on a particular platform instead of you to pay millions of naira buying all of this in your office or in your enterprise environment. So that's the idea of cloud computing. That's what it's really all about. If we want to explain cloud computing to a 5-year-old, what are we going to say? We'll say it's letting someone else manage your computing needs. So you're allowing someone manage all of this, your servers, your networks, your storage, everything. You're allowing a particular cloud provider manage everything for you, right? You have some website that you need to put online. You have a mobile applications for those who create and build applications, or any particular technology you're using instead of buying the servers to deploy it, right? Someone else buys these servers somewhere, sets them up, manages them. All you need to do is just upload your file and you run your application on these servers that are already in the cloud. It's almost the same as renting an apartment, but now you're renting computing space on another computer, which is what we said before. Because cloud computing uses the internet to deliver these services, it doesn't have to be constrained by any physical infrastructure like the traditional data centers, like I previously explained, where you have to buy all of these things in your company, because all of these things use the internet. You use the internet to access all these services, so you don't need to buy any physical infrastructure in your office because everything you need is in the cloud space. That means you need to increase your IT infrastructure rapidly if you want to do anything. You don't have to wait to build a new data center. You can just use the cloud to expand your IT footprint rapidly. And users can also obtain technology service such as processing power, storage, and databases from a cloud provider, eliminating the need for purchasing, operating, and managing and maintaining on-premises physical data centers and servers. Now, let's break it down. Let's break it down now. Cloud computing. To clearly define it, all you need to know about this or about cloud computing is just to understand that it is the ability for you to manage different resources in the cloud very easily from anywhere in the world. You can manage everything. The phones we use is a cloud computing technique. It's an example. We have phones, we upload our pictures to the iCloud, we upload documents to Google Drive, we upload different things to the cloud. And even when you change your phone, when you buy a new phone, you buy a new gadget, all you need is just sign into the same account you used in setting up your cloud infrastructure, your cloud platform, and you still have to you can still recover the data anywhere in the world. That's what cloud computing is basically all about. Companies that provide these cloud services are called cloud service providers. These companies already have servers and they have system engineers. They maintain these servers. They're concerned with all the stuff that you don't even need to worry about, like the server costs and the running costs. If you have a friend who had worked in the bank, because the banks usually have this traditional on-premises server infrastructures, we ask them how much it costs to maintain these physical infrastructures they have on their banks, you would hear lots of money. It runs in millions, right? So the reason why cloud computing came to be and why people are running to it is because these servers are already there in the cloud. These cloud providers already have these platforms already. All they need for you to do is just come and make use of it. And while you make use of it, you pay for the services as you use them. If you're buying additional storage, you pay for the storage. If you're using a particular network, you pay for it. That is what it's all about. Okay. Currently, the most popular cloud service providers are the Google. We know the Google Cloud platform. I talked about Google and the drives and all of that. Google also, you can use Google to host so many of your applications and your data, your servers in the cloud. You have the Amazon Web Service, you have the Microsoft Azure, and these companies, to be honest, they offer the same similar service, right? But the difference here is the different price models and the features they come with and some other slight differences they have. Now, I want us to picture our minds. Let's come back here, have an understanding of this before we go into the service models. Cloud computing, it's the ability to manage various infrastructures, various devices on a cloud platform, right? Where you don't bother about buying the servers, you don't bother about managing the servers, the running costs, and everything, right? Because these cloud providers, they actually provide you with a web interface where you can access these servers and use them when you have the need for them. Now, going forward, we're going to understand that there are three major service models and four that we're going to discuss on this mentorship session tonight. The three very major ones are the IaaS, which means infrastructure as a service. You have the PaaS, platform as a service, and you have the SaaS, software as a service, and the FaaS, which is not too common. Very, it's only those who code and developers that actually use this particular service model is function as a service. Let's continue. Infrastructure as a service. This is the type of cloud computing in which a service provider is responsible for providing service, storage, and networking over a virtual interface. In this service, the user doesn't need to manage the cloud infrastructure, but has control over the storage, the operating system, and the deployed application. Like what we discussed earlier, infrastructure as a service, you don't need to you don't need to bother about building the servers or building the storage or the network over. No, because these people, right, they actually create this platform for you. They create this infrastructure. They create it for you because what they want you to do is to just come in here and have control over whatever you want to deploy and whatever operating system you want to access on this infrastructure. In this service, the user doesn't need to manage the cloud infrastructure, right? You don't need to manage the cloud because they have people already being paid to run and manage this cloud. All you need to do is just use the infrastructure, right, to deploy your applications and you run them. This is the most flexible of all cloud services. This service providers only provide you with the infrastructure you need, and you are responsible for creating your own computing environment and installing the required software for your application to work, right? What they give to you, they give you the storage, they give you access to the network, but you will still be the one responsible to creating your own environment, which means that whatever software you want to install, whatever software you want to run, whatever application you want to run, you will be the one to install the application. A good example of this is Amazon EC2. You have the Azure virtual machines where you are able to utilize the Azure VM storage and as well as the networking. All of that has been provided by Azure. You're not the one creating the network, neither are you the one creating the storage. This has been given to you by the Azure infrastructure. All they need for you to do is use the virtual machine to host whatever application or whatever data you choose to host in it. The use case of this is those who host websites, people who deploy complex applications, and those who have high or huge running workloads that require a very flexible infrastructure. And the picture you have down there explains that you have the IaaS at middle, you have the data center, you have the servers, you have the network, and you have the virtualization. All of that has been provided for you by this infrastructure. That is what it brings. The next one we're going to be on, we're going to be talking about is a platform as a service. Now, in this model, providers host the development tools. Yeah, they host these tools on their infrastructure. I mean, for people who who creates and manage mobile applications. This is what most of them typically use, because all they have to do is users use this tool over the internet using APIs and web portals or some gateway software, right? It's being used for general software deployments, and many providers like these host these softwares even before they deploy them. They host this platform already, right? Before they host this platform, fine, they host the platform, right, for software developers to come in and use the platform to, to host their application. But now, before they host the platform, they develop the platform for you or for people who choose to use this particular service model, right? It doesn't require users to manage the infrastructure. No. You don't need to manage it, right? The network, servers, the operating system, and even the storage, right? But it gives you control over whatever application you deploy on this platform. So because this platform has been created for you to deploy the applications, all you need to worry about is just the application you are choosing to deploy on the platform. This allows the organization to focus more on the deployment and management of their applications by freeing them, giving them time, giving them lots of time, and removing the responsibility of managing the software or to maintain the software or to plan or to even procure the resources to run this platform. All of this has been provided for you by the platform. And some examples of this is the Salesforce Lightning. You have the AWS Elastic Beanstalk. And for some people who prefer to use the Google application engine, that also works. And the use case, like I earlier explained, is developing and deploying web applications, also reducing the complexity of managing hardware and software. So you're not managing any hardware or the software. What you're just concerned about, what this platform gives to you, is an already made environment for you to come and host, manage, deploy, manage, and run your application. Okay, now the next one we're talking about is software as a service. This is the most popular because it's often called the end user service model. This model allows users to access a vendor's software on the cloud by using a subscription that has been paid for. It is a distribution model that delivers software applications over the internet, and these applications are often called web services. The typical example of this is the Gmail we use. You don't worry about how this vendor has created this cloud environment. All you need to do is just create your account, right? Sign in, and you're able to use the application as an end user. You have the Microsoft 365 services and applications as well. Microsoft has created the software for you as a service to use as an end user. All you have to do is just create your account, key into it, subscribe to the service, and you're able to sign in and use the application. Users can access these SaaS applications and services from any location using a computer or mobile device that has an internet access, which is how you access this software as a service. From anywhere in the world, you can sign into your Gmail account from any part of the world. You can sign into your OneCloud account from any part of the world using any device. So far, it has an internet connectivity on the device. And in this model, users are able to gain access to application software and also the database. One important thing about this model, why it's called the go-to for the end user, it is because the service providers actually manages all the hardware, the middleware, the application software, the maintenance, the security of the model. It's also referred to as the hosted software or on-demand software because it is easy for enterprise infrastructures to streamline their maintenance and support. So if an enterprise company, or let's say for instance a bank or an insurance company, wants to carry out some maintenance on his or on their infrastructure, when it comes to the services software they use as a service, they don't bother about it because they don't manage the hardware of that software, right? They don't manage the hardware of this service. Now, let me give you a typical example. We understand we use Gmail and we use WhatsApp, we use Facebook, we use all of this, Instagram and social media, right? These companies, these applications, these softwares, they have a data center somewhere in the cloud, somewhere that you and I are not even, we don't even know, and it doesn't concern us. It doesn't concern us. What we just do is we sign into this application and we use it with internet, but these applications are being maintained. Do you understand? These applications are being serviced from time to time. These data centers are being updated from time to time. If you look at your if you pay a close attention to your WhatsApp around 4 a.m. every morning, you see your WhatsApp carries out an update, right? It backs up all the data, all the files, all the chats, and everything you have done the day before. Around 4 a.m. or 3 to 4 a.m., it does the backup. There is a service somewhere. There is a facility somewhere that is in charge of all of this happening that you and I do not see. All we just come is we sign in and we use this application. So let's say, for instance, for a company who uses Instagram as one of the software they use in their company, when they're about to do their normal monthly or yearly maintenance, they don't worry about maintaining Instagram because it is not for them, right? The Instagram team already does this maintenance, right? They manage the hardware, the middleware, even the software, and even the security of these applications. So that's what it means by this software as a service makes it easy for these enterprise companies to streamline their maintenance and support. So they won't bother about supporting those applications because it's already been supported somewhere, right? So software as a service also delivers a full application stack as a service, from the underlying infrastructure to maintenance and updates to the app software. I've already talked about that. And it's a solution that is called an end user application solution. It's for the end user, where both the service and the infrastructure is maintained and managed by the cloud service provider. And this is software as a service. And this is where Microsoft 365 falls under. This mentorship is based on that. And in the next couple of weeks, you'll be hearing from different mentors. I'll come here to talk to you on knowing what Exchange is about, what is Exchange Online, what is OneDrive, what is SharePoint, what is identity management. All of this can be classified under the software as a service, because Microsoft 365 is a software that is hosted on different data centers in different continents, right? And people are able to access these softwares just by having an internet connected device from either your phone or your laptop, and you'll be able to sign in and access the device. The software. Moving on, a clear example of this is the email services that we use. We have some CRM system applications. We have some productivity suites applications, that's where Microsoft 365 actually falls under. And use cases It's used for business operations, like we've talked about. It's also used for collaboration. Okay. Now we're using Teams. This is Teams. We are collaborating right now. Okay, because we are working on different things at the same time. Let's say, for instance, you're in a company and you are told to work with a group of people, or your team, a group of 5 or 6, your team, to work on a particular program. You use Teams for messaging. You can use SharePoint to manage resources in the cloud together. You can use email services to send communications to yourself. And all of this can be classified under software as a service. You can also use some project management tools to work on projects together, and also use some tools to also analyze big data on the cloud. And all of this is under software as a service. Moving on to function as a service, which is not too popular, right? This is known as a serverless computing technique, or a model that lets users run code in the cloud without having to worry about the underlying infrastructure. Users can create and deploy functions that respond to events or triggers, and this model is used by abstract servers, and also to manage infrastructure, allowing the developers concentrate solely on code creation. So this is similar to infrastructure as a service, and also platform as a service as well, because this allows developers concentrate solely on why they are there, which is to create codes. And with this, you can write the code for a specific function and upload it to the cloud provider, which in turn, they then automatically runs your code in response to an event or a trigger. And a clear example of this is the AWS Lambda. You have the Azure functions, and we have the Google Cloud functions. And it is one of the uses here is that it helps you break down applications into smaller independent functions that can scale and deploy independently. For some of us here who will be delving into coding in the future, and maybe working for big organizations where you have to deploy codes and run certain codes for to deploy different things. Some of these companies actually can have this service model as a cloud infrastructure, where coders can actually code, and they can just concentrate solely on coding. Yeah, on coding. Why the function, it gives you, it gives them the various functions that they need to code adequately. Like Google Cloud Functions already gives them a platform, right, that is having all those functions that these coders need to do whatever task they have to do, making it very easy for them to just concentrate solely on running the code in the cloud without worrying about the structure. So this is the 4 of them. And taking a quick look at this, we can just run through and see the various examples we have here. Always remember that software as a service is a software distribution model in which a third-party provider hosts these applications and makes them available to the users over the internet, right? Example, Salesforce, we have Microsoft, you have Gmail, you have so many of them. You have NetSuite as well. Platform as a service, remember that this model, it's a model which the third-party provider hosts these application deployment platforms already. They create the platform and they host these platforms, right, for people who want to deploy applications, to come deploy, manage your application and whatever you're running there. But don't worry about the platform. We've given you the platform you need to run your application. Then infrastructure as a service as well is a model which the third-party provider host the servers, storage, and your virtual machines, and it's made available to you over the internet as well. An example is the AWS EC2, and we have the Azure virtual machines and just the Google Engine VMs. And the last one, but not the least, is the serverless computing method, which is a function as a service that lets the users run the code without worrying about the infrastructure they are running the code on. These functions respond to events and triggers and can be triggers that can be deployed in this model. And these are the examples that we talked about. The next slide talks about the three major ones, making us understand the components of each of these models. The IaaS has the computer redundancy, which is very important. Also talks about the memory, the storage, and the network, how they give you all of this, or they provide this infrastructure for you to use. And the platform as a service, points and click user interface design, self-provisioning. You don't have to worry about the provisioning because the platform provides that for you. And the last one, which is the end user interface application model, and also can be used as well for user customizations. And the key players in that industry is Facebook, LinkedIn, Office 365, Gmail, and Pinterest. All of this, WhatsApp, Instagram, all of these applications, softwares are classified under software as a service. Okay, so this brings us to the first part of cloud computing. Remember, IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, and FaaS. Now, we're moving on here. Cloud computing can be categorized in two different types. We have the service models, and you also have the mode of deployment. So we've talked about the service models, right? Now we're going to now go to the mode of how this cloud infrastructures, or this cloud computing models, how it's being deployed. We have three of them majorly. We have more than three, but majorly three. You have the public cloud, you have the private cloud, and the hybrid cloud. Now, the public cloud refers to a computing service offered by third-party providers over the internet. These services on the cloud, the public cloud, are available to anyone who wants to use them, or anyone who purchases them, or who subscribes to them. These services could be free most times, right? Like Instagram, it's free. Some of them, you have some are free, and while some are being sold but on demand, where users only have to pay for how you use them. For maybe you're paying for the CPU, how many CPUs you have, how many gigabytes is the RAM, or the bandwidth the bandwidth you have, or the bandwidth you require to host whatever platform, whatever application you choose to host will determine how much you pay. So for a company who has resources of a bandwidth of about 10 gigabytes, that person will pay less, right? Compared to a company who is deploying and managing an infrastructure that is amounting to about 100 or 150 gigabytes. So that's what it means by the bandwidth they consume. And this public cloud can help businesses save, right? So instead of purchasing and managing and maintaining the traditional on-premises data center infrastructure, right? It helps you save on that, because in the cloud, you don't have to purchase or manage or maintain anything, because it is done for you by the cloud. Because the cloud is solely responsible for managing the system, and they offer scalable RAM and flexible bandwidth, making it easy for your business to scale to achieve your storage needs. So if, for instance, your company has a bandwidth of 50 gigabytes, and in the next couple of months, you're planning to increase the bandwidth to 100 gigabytes, right? The public cloud is very flexible because you can actually upscale at any time. It's going to cost you additional costs. It's going to cost you additional because you're expanding, you're increasing whatever RAM or storage you had before. But it's very flexible because you can do that by just going to your VM and increasing your bandwidth, and you start paying for it instead of, let's say you have an on-premises structure, and the structure, the data, the whatever you have, the data center you have, or the server you have in your enterprise environment is only going to accommodate 50 gigabytes worth of data or storage. If you choose to upgrade or to increase your bandwidth, you have to go and buy another server, maybe another 50 gigabytes or 100 gigabytes server, which is an additional cost, right? But the cost cannot be compared to the cost of the cloud, because the cloud is not so expensive. So instead of going to the market to buy an additional server, you just go to your VM and increase the storage, very easy. It's very flexible. And the benefit here is that you don't need to purchase any hardware or software. Like I said, you don't have to worry about the maintenance. It offers a pay-as-you-go pricing. Whatever storage you're using is what you're paying for, and it's very available. It's very, very available. It has high availability and it's fault tolerance. And the few challenges it has is less control and potential security. So because it's a cloud environment, you might also want to take care of the security, because people who also have access to this cloud, because it's public, it's on the cloud, it's on the public cloud space, and anybody can access it. Anybody who tries to hack into your environments can gain access. So you need to train your you need to worry about the security. So you need to invest in that. And also compliance challenges. Different countries have their various compliance laws that has to be obeyed before using certain services. I can remember when I worked on a project where we needed to migrate huge data from a platform to another platform, right? We have to worry about the laws in that country, right? Are we allowed to deploy this amount of data in this country? So you need to check, you need to pay attention, because if you do not pay attention to the compliance laws that is attached to this, it would cause an issue for the company you're working for. And examples of this is you have AWS, you have the Google Cloud Platform. Please, can we all mute our mics, please? Thank you. So the Google Cloud Platform is one of them. The Microsoft Azure is another one. You have the Oracle and other cloud platforms that are here. Now, the private one is similar to the traditional way of hosting applications, where you have to own your own data centers in your environment. You buy them. They are otherwise mostly called on-premises infrastructure. You buy these servers in your enterprise environment, because you still have to manage the physical servers, and you are responsible for maintaining them and also scaling them. Scaling here means if you want to buy, if you need, and if you want to upgrade your bandwidth, then you need to buy another server, which means you are scaling. That's what that term means. This method can be more secure, of course, because it's private, and most of the time you cannot access them if you're not on the company or the corporate network. So it's very secure because you have to be on the infrastructure, or maybe through the use of the company's VPN before you're able to access them. Now you have control over this model, and it provides the highest level of security through company firewalls and internal hosting to ensure that your organization's sensitive data is not accessible to third-party providers. This method is way more cost-intensive. To buy those servers are actually very, very expensive, although with a more predictable or fixed pricing model. It's fixed because you know the price of these servers. Unlike the cloud, the public cloud, it's pay as you go. You don't know the price. You don't know how much it's going to cost because you pay as you use. Now, these servers and hardware are expensive. Having them means having someone to manage them, and it's more expense. And scaling also means buying new devices any time you have the need for it. This is a pictorial example of what I mean by cloud, private cloud and public cloud. So you have the company here for the company A, and this is company A's cloud, private cloud. This is for them. Most of the people that use this are banks. Most of the banks have private cloud because it's a very secure platform. So they need to make sure that none of their data or none of customers' money or none of their facilities or their infrastructure is prone to attacks by the public, because before you access all of these VMs, you need to be on a corporate network. Now, this is Cloud B. You see, this is a cloud, the public cloud. You have company A, B, C, and D. All of them are accessing the public cloud because it's a public space, and anyone who needs it can go in there, subscribe for it, and you pay for it as you use. That's the difference. Now, hybrid here is the combination of both, right? It's the goal of this hybrid cloud is to create a unified, automated, scalable environment that takes advantage of all that a public cloud can provide, while you're still maintaining control over the very critical data in your environment, which means you are combining both the public cloud and the private cloud. Most banks also use this. They have their corporate infrastructures there, but they also have a public cloud where they're able to host some other workloads there, because the private cloud has a fixed storage size. If for some reason they have to host some data in the cloud, in the public space, they will do that so as to keep the very important and very sensitive data on the private infrastructure. I call this the best of two worlds, right? Because it's a model that allows a shift of workloads between the private and public computing, and the cost requirement changes as well. When the demand for computing and processes fluctuates, hybrid cloud opens a new window that allows businesses to scale their on-premises infrastructure up to the public cloud to handle the overflow, while ensuring that no third-party data centers have access to their data. It offers the benefit of public cloud without its security risk. So the very sensitive data you keep in the private cloud, while those ones that you're not really concerned about, you push them to the public. So you have the two of them. Yeah, so this is the picture that explains what we're talking about. And the major challenges here and the benefits here is it's also flexible and it's scalable as well. And you have a balanced cost and control because you know how much the private cloud will cost you, but you don't know how much the public cloud costs you, but you can actually balance it between, you can actually create a balance there, and it helps you in terms of business continuity and disaster recovery. For instance, you come to work one day for people who have witnessed fire on their server rooms, right? For disaster recoveries like this, companies can easily push their data to the public cloud while they repair, while they recover the disaster on the private servers that have been affected by whatever fire or flood or anything. And its challenges, it's very complex to integrate, and the potential movement of data costs between the private and the public can actually cost. So that's what's about. Next picture we'll be having here tells us about what we need to understand about the three of them, right? Understand that the public is offered to you by third-party providers and is available to anyone over the internet. It scales quickly and is very convenient, while the private offered to some selected users over the internet or a private internal network. It provides very high level of security controls, and it requires traditional data center staffing and maintenance. Now, a mix of the two of them, to combine the two of them, makes up the hybrid cloud, where you're able to share security responsibility, and also helps to maintain very tight controls over sensitive data and processes. Now, let's quickly go to the benefits of this cloud computing. It has so many benefits. Now, one, cost management. Using cloud infrastructures can reduce capital costs, as organizations don't have to spend so much money on buying and maintaining equipment, or investing in hardware, facilities, or utilities, or building large data centers to accommodate their growing businesses. And this one here, we're talking about the public cloud, right? You don't have to worry about spending huge amount of money buying and managing your equipment. You just need to subscribe to the service and pay as you go while accessing the public cloud. So it helps you save money. Data and workload mobility. You can store information in the cloud, and it means that users can access this data from anywhere with any device, just with an internet connection, right? Other than having users carry about or walking around with USB drives, external hard drives, or multiple CD drives to access data. For people who buy new laptops and they have an old system, instead of having to use your flash drive to copy and move data from one PC to the other, if you had utilized cloud computing here, like saving or syncing your data to OneDrive, all you'd have just done is sign in your account on the new PC you bought and sync all your data on your OneDrive that's in the cloud back to the new PC. Same thing as your phone. You sync all your contacts, your messages, your calls to the cloud. If you buy a new iPhone tomorrow, sign in your iCloud account and everything comes back to the new device. It's not magic. It's cloud computing, because it enables data and workload mobility. I talked about business continuity and disaster recovery. Companies worry about data loss. Storing data in the cloud guarantees that users can always access their data, even if their devices and laptops, smartphones are not working. They can always still access their data. Speed and agility. Cloud computing facilitates rapid deployments of applications and services, letting developers swiftly provision resources and test new ideas. Here, we can take a cue from platform as a service, where these developers can just swiftly provision resources and test new ideas, So if you know the amount of testings these applications you use today go through before it's pushed into the market, right, you'd really appreciate the benefits here of cloud computing, because cloud computing has made that possible, where people can deploy applications in no time, test them, go back to the drawing board, fix a new ideas in the application, come back to deploy them, see how it works. All of this is made very easy and very, very convenient because cloud computing is in play. And this also eliminates the need for time-consuming hardware procurement processes, because you don't need to worry about buying the hardware to process all of that, and thereby helps you to accelerate your product or your applications into the market very easily. Also, environmental sustainability. By maximizing resource utilization, cloud computing can help to promote environmental sustainability, and cloud providers can also can save energy costs, and reduce the carbon footprint by consolidating workloads onto shared infrastructure. So when you're using the cloud, right, you don't have to buy very large scale data centers, right? And most of the time, there are some providers these days that provide you with designs that are energy efficient, that actually helps you to efficiently use your energy. Okay, so this is the benefits. These are a few benefits of cloud computing. You have so many of them. You can check the internet and read more extensively on more benefits of cloud computing. For the sake of keeping to time and having this mentorship session very short and straight to the point, I had to just list just 5 important ones for me. Now, going to the challenges. Despite the clear upsides and upside to the cloud services, cloud computing has its own downsides as well for IT professionals, and it could be challenging as well. Now, cloud security. Security is often considered the greatest challenge organizations face with cloud computing, because relying on cloud, it means that organizations risk data breaches, hacking of APIs and interfaces can happen, compromised credentials can also happen, and also people can have issues with regards to authentication. So you also need to pay attention to cloud security. It's a downside because most times people who use the private or the private cloud don't really worry about that, because they create their own security firewalls themselves. But for people who access the public space, you have to invest in that as well, because your data is in the cloud, and if you don't secure your data by applying two-factor authentication and making sure that you sensitize and inform your users in the company that all of this is very possible to happen, so they are aware. So user awareness of how important it is to secure their environment. So that's also one of the challenges. And the cost is not predictable, because pay-as-you-go subscriptions that the cloud uses, along with scaling resources to accommodate the demands that are fluctuating, can make it difficult for you to define and predict what your final cost would be. Unlike the physical data centers, where you can plan how much it's going to cost you to buy a particular server. But I mean, this is also a downside, because you can't predict how much it will cost you, because as you use more workload, as you use more bandwidth, the amount of money you pay on your subscription increases. So it's a pay-as-you-go basis. Now, lack of expertise. Cloud supporting technologies rapidly is advancing. Trust me, it's really advancing. Whatever we are seeing now or learning now, it wasn't this way 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, right? And so if you must thrive in the IT space, you need to be able to move with the ongoing trends. Like the speaker yesterday rightly mentioned, that you need to be ahead of others. You need to read, you need to study, you need to find joy and fun in this. That's what's going to make you better than the other person who is here in this meeting with you today. The ability for you to go back and research, read more on this, enjoy it while you read. Make sure you enjoy this while you read. Like, enjoy it, read it in a way whereby you enjoy it, because you need to really, really move with the current trends. As we hear about AIs today, there are so many different AIs coming out for different applications, and people are actually doing amazing things with AI. So if you must thrive in this cloud computing, you need to have expertise, which means that organizations who are struggling to keep up with the growing demand for tools, and I mean employees with the proper skills and knowledge needed to architect, deploy, and manage their workloads and data in the cloud. So lack of expertise is also a downside. And where you are someone with the expertise, companies will come for you everywhere. We have the benefits. So this is the challenges as well. Cloud migration, right? The process of moving applications from one data to the cloud, it can cause complications. I talked about the hybrid cloud, where you might want to move some data from the private cloud to the public cloud. All of these movements sometimes, would cause some complications where you need to troubleshoot. Migration projects frequently take longer than anticipated and most times go over budget. And the issue of workload and data repatriation, moving from the cloud back to the local data center, is often overlooked until unforeseen costs and problems arises as regards to performance. Cloud performance as well, such as latency, is also considered as a downside of cloud computing, because when something is being accessed over the internet, if MTN is down, you have an issue. If a couple of months back, if we can remember, when Main One dropped a statement where some cables were destroyed by submarine in the Atlantic Ocean, that time there was a downside in cloud computing, because most of us who use MTN and different networks couldn't access the internet as we should. So it's a downside, right, for cloud computing, because network and providers outages can interfere with productivity and can also disrupt business processes if these organizations are not prepared with contingency plans. Now, the last challenge as regards cloud computing, this is not the last one, but you can check the internet to see some others. It's vendor lock-in, where switching from one cloud provider to the other can actually have some technical incompatibilities between them. Like, say, for instance, you're moving from Azure to AWS, you have to look at the legal and regulatory limitations as regards that. And it might be cheaper. You might be paying for some services, networks, VMs you're using on Google cheaper. And if you go to AWS, it might be more expensive than it is. So all of these things are downside, because the prices are not the same across all of them. Now, moving on to the use cases and industry applications. We've talked about this in the course of today's class. Okay. Testing and development, ready-made tailored environments can expedite timelines and milestones. So for someone who needs to carry out a project, because you're not worrying about the servers, you're not worrying about maintaining the servers, you're not worried about deploying applications on a platform as a service, you're not worried about the updates being run on this cloud environment, you can actually hit milestones very fast. You can deploy applications, install programs very fast. Imagine you're doing them by buying the servers yourself, waiting for it to be shipped from maybe the US over to Nigeria. I mean, all of this can take time, but because it's a cloud, just go to your computer, log into the platform, create an account, subscribe to the service, and you can create your VMs and you start using the service. So it's very easy. Production workload hosting, organizations that are using public hosts, public cloud to host live production workload. You can use these platforms to host very, very large data easily and very, very fast. Big data analytics, remote data centers through cloud storage are flexible, like we've discussed, and they are scalable and can provide very much valuable data-driven insights. IaaS, infrastructure as a service, lets companies host IT infrastructures and access compute, storage, and network in a scalable manner. Platform as a service, like we talked about, helps you to deploy, run, and manage application more easily at a lower cost than maintaining an on-premises platform. Hybrid cloud, organizations have the options to use the appropriate cloud, which means that private or public, anyone you're using for different workloads, you can choose to either use private or public. It's one of the uses, right? for different workloads and applications, I mean, to optimize cost and efficiency according to the circumstance, right? For companies who have private and public cloud, depending on whatever circumstance that they have, like in terms of disaster recovery, you can move to your public cloud, post those data there while you're recovering your data. Imagine a company who so we all heard about the flood in Maiduguri. Let's say, for instance, there's a company or there's a bank, right, in the Maiduguri city where the flood happened, and the flood entered this bank and destroyed all of the bank's internal servers. Are you trying to say that that bank would not function or the people's data would not work? No. In that case, they can actually move some data to the cloud, to the public cloud, while they are working on recovering from that disaster. So the flexibility is one of the uses of cloud computing. Moving on, storage. You can easily access storage very easily. You can recover from disaster. We've talked about that. You can back up data in the cloud using your iCloud as an example, Google Drive and the rest of them very, very easily. Artificial intelligence, cloud computing now lets individuals without formal knowledge or expertise in data science reap the benefit of artificial intelligence as a service. People who cannot code, people who have no knowledge of coding can actually go to ChatGPT and and search for series of programs, codes, Python codes, and you can run them. That way, you're benefiting from cloud computing because this data is coming from the cloud and is being stored by somewhere. And with the use of large language models, you can access those knowledge. For those of us who use Chat GPT, who use Gemini, all of them, you can use all of these AI tools to do amazing stuff, right? Now, Internet of Things, cloud computing simplifies the processing and management of data from IoT devices. Cloud platforms offer the scalability and processing capacity required to handle the enormous amount of data produced by IoT devices. We know Alexa, we know Google Nest. If you go to the island, you have so many cloud homes where you can wake up in the morning and talk to Alexa and talk to your Google Smart Home to open your window, to on your AC, to clock your door. I mean, all of these beautiful things happening is as a result of cloud computing. Moving on to the applications, we have discussed about this, but let's talk about them how we can apply them in our industry or how it's been applied today in our industries. We know of Google Documents, where you can save your documents in the cloud. You know of Microsoft 365, which is what we'll be talking about in the coming weeks of this internship. Users can be more productive because they can access their work presentations and spreadsheets stored in the cloud anytime, from anywhere, and from any device. We can't overemphasize this. Office 365 data are saved in the cloud. Okay. If you can sign into your email account from another phone in the US and you come to Nigeria, you can sign into your email just with signing into your email and your password. That is made possible using cloud computing. You can also save document as well in the cloud to achieve all of this. Your email, calendar, Skype, WhatsApp, email, and WhatsApp, all of this take advantage of the cloud's ability to provide users with access to data remotely so they can examine their data on any device whenever, wherever they want. Zoom is one. Teams, which is what we're using right now, is also one of the industry applications of cloud computing. Now, this brings us to a wrap-up of cloud computing. Understand one thing, that the ability to manage multiple devices right, in the cloud just by signing to a platform or an infrastructure or a software from your internet, from your phone. That is called cloud computing. The grammar, not too much. That is what it is. And what we've been talking about for the last 1 hour, it's that's what it's about. Before we wrap up today's class, I want to delve a little to introduce us to Microsoft 365, which is what we'll be learning in the coming weeks. Okay. Microsoft 365, formerly known as Office 365, is a comprehensive suite of productivity, collaboration, and cloud-based services offered by Microsoft. It combines traditional office apps like Word, Excel, PowerPoint. You know, the slides right now, this slides I'm presenting right now is as a result of me using a Microsoft Office suite, PowerPoint, and you can also use powerful cloud services such as OneDrive, Microsoft Teams, which is where we are on right now, and so many amazing advanced security features. And Microsoft 365 is designed to empower individuals like you and I, organizations as well, to collaborate, to communicate, and to manage their digital workspaces efficiently, to empower individuals like you and I again, right? Individuals, companies, enterprise to collaborate, to work together, to communicate, to interact, and to manage their workspaces efficiently, effectively, anytime, any day. And the key components of Microsoft 365, I think we have like about 3 of them. We have the productivity applications, which is we have Microsoft Word. It's a processing tool for creating documents, reports, and newsletters. We have Excel. It's a spreadsheet application for data analysis, financial modeling, and also visualization. PowerPoint, like I've said before, it's a software used for presenting, creating slideshows, and multimedia presentations. Outlook is an email and calendar application for managing communications and scheduling. OneNote is a digital notebook for taking notes, organizing information, and also for collaboration. We have Access, which is a computer-based application. It's not a cloud-based application. When I mean cloud-based, I mean you can't access it from the browser. You can only access it from the PC because it reads some data on your personal computer. It's a database management tool for creating and managing relational databases. And Publisher, which is also a PC-only tool as well. It's used for desktop publishing application for creating brochures, newsletters, and marketing materials. Moving on to cloud services, we have OneDrive for Business. It's a cloud storage service that allows users to store, sync, share files securely from anywhere in the world. You have SharePoint Online. This will be dissected, right, extensively in the course of this mentorship program. So I advise you to not miss any day, because any day you miss, trust me, you have missed something very important. And if you miss one day of this class, to catch up on the next class, you might have to go back to the recording, right, and then do some additional reading on your own, right, before you're able to understand it. But I mean, the YouTube is there, which is a cloud platform where you can always go and read and understand this. So we have SharePoint, which is used for collaboration, for document management, and for sharing and team collaboration through the intranet. You have Teams, which we're using right now for communication, collaboration. Right now, I'm communicating with you. You might want to collaborate with someone. Like I am the team of mentors here. We've been collaborating using Teams, right? Trying to, see how best we can come up with an amazing program, mentorship program for you. You can also use Teams for video conferencing, to share files, and also to integrate with some certain third-party applications. Now we have Exchange Online as a cloud service. It's a cloud-based email and calendar service for professional communication and scheduling. We have the next component, which is advanced security and compliance. We have yesterday, MJ talked about Active Directory Management, or the Entra, which is the identity management, where she mentioned that it can be a standalone career, right? So someone also here will come on a certain day to extensively help us understand what it means by what Azure Identity Management means, all right? It's an identity and assessment management service for single sign-on SSO, for MFA authentication, and for also security monitoring. We have Microsoft Defender, which is an advanced threat protection for email endpoints and identities as a whole. We also have information protection. All of this might not be taken in the course of this mentorship, but just for you to know what the key component of Office 365 is about. Tools like AIP for labeling, classifying, and protecting sensitive information. If you look at the top of my screen here, top left, you would see something called personal, which means that this PowerPoint slide is classified under my personal documents, right? It's something I choose to share with people. So you can classify different programs, different documents. You can label them and classify them how you like, how you want, depending on the sensitive information you're trying to protect on the documents. Also talking about compliance management, where we understand and manage compliance standards. I talked about laws. You have various laws. You have the GDPR. You have the HIPAA. So many laws that we'll be talking about. So many countries have laws that they obey in terms of handling people's data. Microsoft handles data for people, and people's various companies' data pass through the Microsoft network. So Microsoft is a company that also is prone to be in compliance with various compliance laws and standards. So the compliance management also helps your organizations create and implement those laws as it applies to any country you find yourself using Microsoft 365. So the next one we're going to talk about is the last but not the least, which is the artificial intelligence and automation. Also in the course of this mentorship program, we will be talking about understanding Power Automate Flows, which is a flow automation tool that integrates with Microsoft 365 and other applications to automate so many tasks that are running, so many repeating tasks that runs. You also have Power BI, which is a business analytics tool for creating interactive reports and dashboards with data from various sources. Also gives you a very nice visual of data while you're working with large data. Also, we have Cortana. Cortana is an AI tool on our Windows laptops, and it's an AI-based personal assistant integrated into Microsoft 365 for productivity, insights, and reminders. Now, this brings us to the end of today's presentation. Before I wrap up today, I'd like to say something. I really appreciate all of you for joining this program, this mentorship program, right? MJ said so much yesterday, and I also want to reiterate on that this is going to be like a rat race. Over 1,000 people, 1,000 mentees subscribe for this program, right? But just a few of you would actually use this to make a living and also advance in this. It's not like we don't mean well or we don't wish you well, but it's because that is life. It's something that you should know as well. What makes you better from The next person that is also on this platform right now, on this session right now, what will make you better than that person is the ability for you to go back. All of these things we've talked about today, all of this we've discussed on this session today, go back to the internet, search for cloud computing, read extensively. You've heard all what I said today. Once you read on them again, trust me, it's going to stick in there. And make sure you have a note. Make notes and always drop key points on your notes. I want us to know that you will not regret subscribing to this mentorship program, right? So thank you all for listening. It was a pleasure. And hopefully, in the going weeks of this program, I'll also be sharing my 2 cents on one of the technologies. Thank you once again, and thanks for listening.
Thank you so, so much, Elvis. Really appreciate your time. We appreciate your advice. And yes, that was a wonderful presentation from Elvis, one of our mentors. And yeah, he'll be taking one of the core technologies going forward in the next classes. Yeah. So it's time for questions. Time for question and answer. If you have questions, please drop your questions in the chat. Joseph, can you please turn on the chat? Let's have questions for Elvis.
Okay, so while the questions are being dropped, I want to sincerely appreciate you, Elvis, for the time so far that you've put into this. Speaking in about 2 hours ago, it's not easy, and I must appreciate you. I just want to encourage those that may have heard these terms today, being the first time. You may get, it is normal to get confused, so you are free to get confused, but don't allow your confusion defeat your decision. So just make sure that you are dedicated. I just want to speak to those people on some of the things that Elvis has professionally defined. Maybe I just want to shed light on them in a layman's from the layman's angle, and that's not going to take time. It's just while we are waiting for you to drop your your chart. So you remember that while he was explaining, he explained the public, the private, and the hybrid deployment model. This is a very important part of cloud computing, and I have dropped the documents that we need to read to understand this very well. And the examination test, I mean the test of knowledge is also there just so you can measure your level of understanding. So for public cloud, I want you to see it like, if you're in Lagos, I want you to see it like the downfall bus that you go to board when you are going to work or going somewhere. So what happens is that you are paying the downfall guy to go drop you off at whatever bus stop you needed to come down. You don't bother about the fuel that is going to put in the tank. You don't bother about the tires. You don't bother about anything. You have paid for your service, and it is his responsibility to take you to where you are going to. So you are paying for that service. That is a public cloud. So when it comes to private cloud is you owning your car. You are driving from your house to your office. So what happens is that if your fuel get finished, sorry, I wanted to use phone. If your fuel get finished on the way, you will be the one to go buy fuel and put in your tank. Eventually, if your tires get spoiled on the way, you'll be the one to go and get the tires to put in your vehicle. You can't leave it there and go because it is private cloud. It is your own. While I will liken hybrid cloud to situation where you are traveling to Port Harcourt, for example, and you have a car there. Now you use public cloud, like you use public vehicle to travel down to Port Harcourt. But when you get to Port Harcourt, the intrastate journey, you use your vehicle to navigate around. In that way, you are combining both the public cloud and the private cloud to get to what destination you have in mind to go. So that is how I have been able to distinguish these things, and it make life easy for me to move ahead. Public vehicle, private, my private car, and hybrid, breaking the journey to have the public plus the hybrid cloud together. So I wish you well, and I hope that you will go through the materials that we have shared in the chats, and you can always reach out to us also for clarification. So Rafiah, maybe you want to look at the chat now so everyone can start attending to questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph, for that layman's explanation. So yeah, I'll start off with the questions now. Please hold on. So I think the first question we have here is what's the difference between pass and fast? That's platform as a service, right? Elvis, are you here? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here, sure.
Hello? Okay,
Yes, I'm here.
okay,
Yes, I'm here. Yeah.
okay. So I think the first question we have is what's the difference between pass and fast?
All right. So platform as a service and function as a service, not much difference between them, but the major difference is because um, the function as a service, you have various functions that have been included for you, that have been added for you by this by either the Google function, all of them. So it helps you just focus on writing your code, right? You don't bother about other things. Now, for the platform as a service, is almost the same in the sense that these platforms, they've given you a web application development software already. It's been deployed by them. They created the environment. They have hosted it. All you need to do is just come with your application, your files, your raw data, and work on it. So they are similar. I mentioned it in my discussion. Platform as a service deals mostly in terms of application deployment and development, while function as a service solely is it solely re relates to the coders. Just come in and code, concentrate on the coding, and leave the other ones, because the functions that would help you code properly, they've already been added on that environment. So they're similar, but one of them, it's relatable to coders, while the other one, it's for web application developers, where the platform for you to come deploy and manage your application it's already been created for you by this infrastructures.
Thank you so much. I hope that answers the question. So before we proceed, just for those that joined in today, and yeah, the classes would we have our classes every Saturdays and Sundays from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. All the classes are being recorded. So after the class, we're going to share the recording link with you so you can always go back to watch the class recordings just in case you have issues with the network, issues with joining the class. So the next question here is this. Are we going to do hands-on? Definitely, we're going to have labs, practical classes in our coming sessions. Yeah, the next class is going to be next week, Saturday by 8 p.m. You're all going to have your accounts, yes, that you're going to use to sign in. You have your accounts where you're going to have your practical classes. So be rest assured that you're going to see how M365 works, how you get to use the productivity apps, how you create user accounts. All of this would be taught in the class. So now the next question is, can we categorize transferring data from one PC to another through cloud as a benefit of cloud computing, where data subscription is where subscription is paid, right? Rather than using flash drive that requires no data subscription. I don't know if you get the question.
Yes, we can classify that as a benefit of cloud computing. Now, you're talking about subscription and non-subscription. Okay. Let's say, for instance, your flash drive gets lost or your hard drive crashes. Okay. So, but in cloud computing or cloud data transfer, you don't really need to worry about that because everything you have stored is already there. And even if you travel to another country and you want to recover that data, right? All you need to do is just go to that platform, go to that cloud environment, sign into it, and then you have access to your data. So yes, I would say that is one of the benefits of cloud computing. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. So the next question is, how does virtualization and containerization support cloud infrastructure?
Virtualization and containerization. So it's almost the same thing because containerization is a subset, is a part of virtualization. Now, what is virtualization? The ability for you to create a cloud or a remote computer on a platform where you can access resources. Now, containerization is where you have to have different containers where you can use to access different resources on that virtual machine or on the virtual machine on the cloud environment. If it's Azure, if it's an Azure VM, yeah. So they work together. They are similar, right? And yes, they play a very big role in cloud computing because for you to manage resources in the cloud, you need to create your virtual machine, and the creation of virtual machine, the running of the virtual machine every day and doing everything you're doing on your virtual machine is called virtualization. Now, containerization is the ability to have all of the resources that is needed for this virtual machine to run successfully being categorized and being created for the virtual machine to run smoothly as it should. You have the network, you have the storage, you have, so many other things around it that can help your virtual machine work very well. So, yes, it's a part of cloud computing. In using the infrastructure as a service, Azure gives you you can create virtual machines after you've paid for the subscription. So creating the virtual machine and running it is called virtualization. So yes, it's a part of cloud computing.
Thank you for that. Then someone is asking, is it possible to host a core banking application like Finacle in a public cloud?
Yes, it is very possible to host that in a public cloud, but it now depends. I think Finacle is a software as a service.
Yep.
Finacle, it's a banking software. Yeah, banking software, it can be accessed on the public space as well. You can also choose to put it on your private network, whereby if you're not if you're not on the corporate network, you'll be able to access it, which is what banks do, I believe, because even if you're an Access Bank staff and you happen to go to your house, right? You cannot access Finacle. Even if you can you go to the Finacle page, you'll be able to access it because I think there's a rule that says in the bank for you to access those banking applications, those banking applications used to run day-to-day transactions in the bank, it needs to be accessed over a corporate network, right? And that is private cloud because it's an enterprise environment. So that is where I talked about having to keep your sensitive data and applications in the private space where it's not accessible to any Tom, Dick, and Harry in the public cloud. So yes, bankers or banks might choose to place Finacle on a private cloud or public cloud, whichever one it works.
Thanks for that. So I think another question here is this person is saying he thinks Microsoft has discontinued Cortana, replacing it with Copilot. I don't know if that's correct, but please, Elvis, before you answer the question, I would want everyone to please fill the attendance form. I think we have a QR code for that. Kindly scan that to fill the attendance form for today. For yesterday, we did not take attendance, so be rest assured that you didn't miss out on anything on the attendance yesterday. So we're taking the attendance today. Please check the chat. You have a barcode
Raf,
there to scan.
Rafiah,
Okay,
Rafiah,
Joseph.
can you hear me?
Okay,
Please,
okay,
can you display the code on your screen? And I think it will be
okay.
good if we can take that off the group chat so that we can be sure that the attendance, the number of people we have there are people that are truly on the call.
Okay, do
So
hold
you may
on.
just share your screen. You may just share your screen and put the barcode on it now so that we can scan from here.
Sure, that's fine.
So hi, Rafa, if I'm answering the last question for Cortana, I don't think Cortana has been discontinued, right? Because Cortana is different from Copilot. They are two different applications, though they use artificial intelligence. So Cortana is a virtual assistant, just like Alexa, just like you have Siri on your iPhone. That's what Cortana is. It helps you to set your reminders. You can speak to Cortana on your laptop and it helps you answer questions from a knowledge base, of course. Helps you manage your emails, helps you set your reminders as well. So Cortana is still very much available in Windows laptops. Yeah. Copilot as well is also an artificial intelligence based application that is being used that is being used in that is being used in our desktop. So our desktops have Copilot as well as Cortana. So Cortana has not been discontinued as far as I know because I still have Cortana on my PC and I still can access and use it because it's a virtual assistant. While Copilot is entirely different. Copilot is not a virtual assistant. It's a knowledge base where you can search for different informations with the use of large language models. It helps you, it gets information from different databases and also depends on how much data you feed it. So Copilot works with you and various if you so it helps get to know what you need based on information you give to it. So it builds on that. So that's what Copilot is. Okay, Cortana is a virtual assistant and it's still in use. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Elvis, for that beautiful one. So if you have questions, please you can connect with Elvis on LinkedIn. His name is Elvis Akandu. I think he shared that earlier. Please connect with Elvis. You can always ask him your questions. And yes, you have the QR code. Please scan that to fill your attendance before you leave the class for today. The timetable will be shared on the Telegram group. The scheme of work would also be shared, and recordings to today's class would also be shared. If you have any questions, please ask in the Telegram group. If you're still in the WhatsApp group, we advise that you, do I say migrate or move to the Telegram group, because we created the Telegram group to accommodate more mentees, right? So you have between now and Friday to join the Telegram group.
Quick one, Rafiah. I think we should also use the group to drop our slides, because I'd also like to share my slides with them on
Okay,
the
beautiful.
Telegram group. So whoever needs it can download it and can use it. I'm also going to include some more information on the slide today. Then I'll be sharing that on the Telegram group. So please do well to
Mhm.
click on the link to join the Telegram channel so you can have access to all the
The
resources that we'll be
slides.
using was using in the mentorship program. Thank you so much, and thank you all for listening, and we hope to connect next time.
Next week, Saturday, precisely by 8 p.m. Thank you all so much for taking the time to be here. Have okay, please, if you've not scanned, please make sure you scan the QR code. Let me share my screen.
While we are filling the attendance, just on my own, from my own end, I will advise that I know that we had a lot of issues with internet connection from different people. We have been very responsive on WhatsApp, trying to see how we could be of help to people. So this is part of the weaknesses that MJ highlighted yesterday. You have to please look for a way around it. I know the situation of Nigeria and internet, and you will not allow that to deprive you. So it's good to go to YouTube to go watch these video recordings and all of that. But I feel that you will have the more sense of belonging if you are also attend the live sessions where you have options to ask questions. The reason I'm saying this is because from next week, there is going to be there are going to be a lot of practicals. You'll be given a lot of assignments. So this week is more like a ceremony and opening, I will call it opening ceremony, and just showing you all that you needed to know. So from next week is you are going to have what to actually go and start cracking for the week. So if you don't attend, I don't know how you learn, but the way I learn is if I see the person doing it and I have option to ask question, then it's going to pay me better when I go back to watch those recordings. So please, we know what the situation is with internet connection in Nigeria, but please look for what works for you between now and Friday so that you can easily and join seamlessly. So if you know that you've not been using Teams before, you can reach out to the people in the community to assist you set up so that you are going to be joining seamlessly. And fortunately, we are going to be using the same link throughout this period. So nothing is going to change. Just have it pinned to your browser or have it saved to your phone and always click on that link when it is time for the meeting. This day is just, introduction. The hands-on is coming from next week. Thank you very much and have a wonderful week ahead.